guys, this is Lord Chael speaking on behalf of our show sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lords and ladies. They allow you to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so you can officially call yourself a lord or a lady. Established Titles is not just about your ego. You also get to do some good. In addition to your new fancy title, Established Titles supports global charities like One Tree Planet and Trees for the Future to help with the afforestation effort. Your title pack gets you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land in a private estate in Scotland. Your certificate features a unique plot number where you can see the exact location of your land. And right now, Established Titles is holding 200 plots of land right next to mine. So come join me in the Bad Guy Inc. Kingdom. Getting this certificate even allows you to officially change your name to Lord or Lady. Put it on your credit card, put it on your plane tickets, or if you're so inclined, put it on your dating profile. Makes for a great last-minute gift, and there's even couples packs that come with adjoining plots of land. Established Titles is having a great limited-time sale. Go to establishedtitles.com/Chael to save 10% off today. Remember to use the promo code Chael, or just click on the link below. All right, Pereira is getting ready to fight for a world championship. Yeah, okay, shocking news, right? We've all been waiting for this, but Pereira did it very quickly. And I wanted to come over here and I wanted to talk about his path, and I wanted to compare it to some other guys' paths who are also extremely fast. Pereira has had 5 UFC fights. Now, I'm prepped for this. I've studied this. I felt as though I had even watched them. So I sit down and I get a little closer, and my producer tells me, no, Chael, hold on. He's only had 3. If you're talking about UFC fights, he's only had 3. This will be his 8th fight overall in mixed martial arts. He begins to tell me about jungle fights. He begins to tell me about LFA. Well, I've seen Pereira's 3 UFC fights. And don't think I'm being rude if I don't state the first opponent's name and the second's name, but I did watch it. And when he drew into Sean Strickland, that was largely because nobody else wanted to fight Sean Strickland. Now, that was advertised. That was told to us. That was not hyper folklore. That was very true. The top guys did not want Pereira. Strickland was ranked number 6, but was in a conversation to be fighting for a championship should he want to make that conversation a little bit louder. When they step in there, I remember these things. But I missed 2 fights. I did not realize it's only 3 times in the UFC and straight into a world championship. Now, I don't have anything I can compare that to. Jon Jones's run was very quick, just by example. Jon Jones debuted, it was in 2008. But Jon Jones debuted, let's call it January. My dates aren't right here, but let's call it January. By July, he had a 6-0 record. I mean, he crammed these fights in. He goes out, this is on the underground circuit, right, or the regional circuit, and he gets 6 fights just back to back to back. Boom, he's in the UFC. Within the same year that he started the sport professionally, he'd amassed a 6-0 record and got signed to the UFC. That's fast. If we look at how quick Conor McGregor came in and got to a main event, shockingly fast. Brock Lesnar did the same thing. By the way, starts out with a loss. Brock debuts against Frank Mir in a feature match and a feature card position, loses. And still, within 3 fights, gets to a main event. World title opportunity. I mean, we've seen these ones that are really quick, but look at Pereira. Now, Pereira and Adesanya are both feeling a need to convince us, the audience, that the other one is scared. I don't know that I've seen anything quite like this. Of course, I have seen opponents try to convince the audience that the other guy doesn't want to do it, that the other guy has the pressure, that the other guy is the one sweating it. Of course, I've seen that. But I just can't recall a time where both of them were working equally as hard to convince us, the audience, who does not care in the least, which guy wants to fight less. And I also don't know that it matters. I mean, I'm just sharing for you. I don't know that it matters. I believe Pereira. I believe Pereira is very sincere that when he left kickboxing and came to MMA, he was coming after Izzy. Period. I believe that. I believe Izzy, who got to MMA and got to the top echelons, noticed that Pereira, a former opponent, was starting to follow in his footsteps, and I don't believe that he minded. I don't believe Izzy did anything to show that he was going to flinch. I don't think he tried to leave the division. I don't think he tried to talk down Pereira. I don't think when a guy's got 3 fights, that's not very many. 3 fights in the UFC? This is shocking. Didn't have not huge star power coming in, right? Don't compare him to Brock Lesnar. Not this big star power. Don't compare him to Conor McGregor or to Ronda Rousey, what they did, where they came in with something really hot. Came in at Scratch Street, had a backstory if anybody was willing to listen. Got his skills co-signed by Glover Teixeira, who has never really built anybody up to this degree before. I mean, you have our attention, but you're not in massive fights. These are not main event fights that Pereira is doing. This is not against ranked opponents that Pereira is doing. So all I'm suggesting for you is that if Izzy was in fact hesitant or scared, they love to use the word scared, right? Professional cage fighters. But if he fell into one of those categories, he would have had a lot of room to resist. He would have been well within his rights to say, not right now. Keep doing a good job, but not right now. And I do have to remind you and take you back to the moment that this fight was made. Dana White did not make this match in a back room and come and tell the people. Dana didn't even hint this in. We did. We, the audience, did. When Pereira drew as high as Strickland, and we knew that Strickland should be in the discussions for a world title opportunity. He wasn't creating them, but we knew with those 6 or 7 in a row that he should be, that should be a semifinal, a title eliminator, if you will, for Sean. So then we decided, well, we're going to give that to Pereira as well. When that fight ends, you bring out another match, and then you bring out Izzy. Okay, but you got to picture this. This is all the same night. The same night, Pereira beats Strickland, and we decide that it's going to be him versus Izzy. Izzy doesn't know what we've decided. Izzy doesn't know what is being discussed. He doesn't know what's being typed and sent out. He's in the back warming up. Comes out to the Undertaker gimmick, gets in there, handles business, and Joe Rogan interviews him. It's extremely important that you remember this detail. When Joe Rogan interviews him, Izzy Adesanya, who has never left the ring, not since being champion, without making it clear who his next opponent is going to be. When Joe Rogan interviews him, Joe comes very light. Very, very light about who do you think should be next. There's a lot of good options out there. And Izzy took the mic, cut Joe Rogan off, and said, who are we kidding? Next is Pereira. He stepped right in front of it. So the idea that Izzy is sidestepping and or scared, I don't know is factually correct. Izzy would have the right to sidestep, and he also has the right to be scared. He's a human being. He has the right to do all of these things. But in a game of bluff, where was the blink? What was the tell? I didn't see it, and I don't believe it. I also would have to say the same thing for Pereira, who's coming up this quickly, who would have the right to call out different opponents, who would have the right to get a little bit of experience, who would have the right to say, I want to win. Boy, Madison Square Garden, the lights are a little bright out there. My former nemesis, the whole reason I'm doing this, it's all being a reality right now. Boy, this is quick. They would have had the right. I didn't see either one do it. I don't see the blink. I don't see the tell. And you guys want to know something I'm super curious about? Izzy's walkout. Because I do believe both athletes, when they're talking about the other one's scared, the other one's feeling too much pressure, I do believe the other one's got the right. There's a lot on this on a personal level. What is between these two boys is more than we've been brought in on. It's very difficult rhetorically to explain to the audience when you have a personal vendetta. Even if that is competitive. Even if it's just a healthy competitive rivalry, it's very hard to explain when that is my person. Very tough. And if Izzy walks out to normal music and he has his game face on and in the ring we go, we will be told something as an audience. But if Izzy performs, if he entertains on the way to the ring, we're going to be told something else. We're going to be told that this Pereira, that we thought everything was on the line with this was, the whole house was built on this one card not being removed. Izzy's going to show us he treats him and views him the same as he does everybody else. It's going to be a very interesting moment. I look forward to the fight. But that's between those two. I don't know who's going to win, and neither does I don't know who's going to land. It's a two-man sport. There's a lot coming at me. But as far as the approach, as far as who's nervous, as far as who's scared, there's been big talk about that coming into this match. I've heard more about that than I have I'm going to chop your leg down and hit you with, knock you out with a straight. I've heard more talk about you don't want it, I'm hunting you, and vice versa. And I will know who's right on that when I watch Adesanya walk to the cage.